Welcome to another episode of the Lone Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clemenson, and if you're a recruiter out on your own or just lacking general advice or mentorship, you've come to the right place. Our episodes are designed to give you the motivation, the strategies, and the support you need to become the very best lone recruiter. So join us, join Beth, grab a cup of coffee, let's take your desk to another level. Now, I brought you in today because for anyone who's watched this before, they know who Beth is. She's our marketing guru at Alra on the recruitment agency side of things. And I wanted to pick your brains in front of the camera for the benefit of everyone at home, just around social trends and branding trends that are happening now and are upcoming. And I mean, if you're listening to this and you're conscious of your personal brand, so whether you work for yourself and you've got a company to market and brand, or you're just a recruiter in a bigger business, but you've got your own personal brand that you want to push and develop and foster, you will have no doubt noticed that this year, 2023, it's got incredibly crowded, incredibly noisy, and incredibly busy on platforms, particularly like LinkedIn, which is our probably main bread and butter. So my question to you, Beth, is how as a recruiter do you cut above that noise? And what does 2024 look like in terms of what's going to be required to stand out amongst the pack?
Yeah, 100%. There is a lot more noise on LinkedIn now. And I think a lot of recruiters, particularly if they're just starting on their journey to build their personal brand, are there going, well, how do I compete with all this? I think the first thing I always preach is authenticity, be yourself. Yes, you've got a whole lot of expertise you can draw from. Yes, you can do things from videos to graphics. All that stuff kind of comes under your personal brand. But if you're not being yourself and you're not being consistent, and that's where being yourself helps, because if you're trying to put on a persona or whatever, staying consistent with that is really difficult.
Yeah.
People will connect with you. They're not going to connect with you if you're trying to be someone else.
100%. And if you're, I've seen this so many times, but like if you're not sure what to post, so you're going to chat GPT and putting some stuff down, it's so freaking obvious. It's so obvious.
I've done a fair bit of playing with chat GPT because I've got so much work on my desk at any given time. I'm always like, how can I cut 5 minutes off here and there? So I've played with it. I can tell you that from a marketing viewpoint, I can spot a post written by ChatGPT in 5 seconds because they're all so generic. They're all very like hyper and let's go do this and motivational this. And unless you give it very, very good prompts, which most people haven't taken the time to learn how to do.
Or they're too robotic.
Far too robotic.
Just too robotic in terms of an answer. I'm a huge believer. So what you're basically saying, what I'm picking up on, and I know you're telling me, you're in my ear all the time, be absolutely authentic to yourself.
100%. There's caveats within that. If you're someone that drops a lot of swear words on a daily basis, obviously you need to, you do need to rein that in a little bit because you are building what's a professional brand, right?
Time and place.
But that doesn't mean you can't use it. Just make sure it's done in a
and I'm a genuine believer that if you've got an opinion on something, put it out there because it will be someone else's opinion. It might be opposed by someone, but that creates and fosters a healthy sort of discussion.
Yes.
And it is so much easier being yourself than trying to be someone else.
Yeah, that's it. And you can say, if I always think about recruitment as two separate profiles. You've got your personal brand and you've got your company brand. As a new recruiter, or if you're just building your own agency and it's only you, if you have to pick one to focus on, start your personal brand before you start your business brand, because that will flow in. But if you want to have a very slick, professional voice, save that for your company brand. Get people to connect with you first and foremost on a personal level, and then that's going to help everything else you do.
And that's how we've segregated it, isn't it? Because we take the company side of things, and that's information, that's initiatives, or that's like observations, motivation. But then in terms of like anecdotal stuff or personal stuff or commentary or opinions or points of views, we save that for the individuals, right?
Yep.
And that's how we break it up, and that's working really well for us at the moment. So is that enough to keep above the masses and to stick your nose out in terms of your competition? What else do we need to be doing?
I think initially, if you're starting out, that's enough. You want to have your own viewpoints. One of the things I think we see a lot of people, particularly when they're starting out, doing is just regurgitating things other people have said. And yeah, okay, I get it. Nothing that's on social media or the internet is ever going to be truly original because it's all been said or done before in some way. But you can always take your own unique spin on it. And yeah, if you want to mix it up, start doing videos, start throwing in graphics, start really playing with the types of content you put out there. But honestly, if you go through and you look at all of the recruiting influencers or micro influencers, whatever you want to call them, they're all just them.
So a lot of people who listen to this as well, and they say, that's great. And I know what you haven't touched on yet, but you always say is like consistency and like daily.
Well, look, you've talked a lot about the concept of falling back to your habits. When it comes to social media, habits are very important because great, if you're posting once, let's put this out there, posting once is better than not posting at all. But posting daily is even better. Like you need to be putting aside, setting up some systems, putting aside scheduled time. It doesn't have to be long. It could be you put one post up a day and you spend 10 minutes social listening, and I'll touch on social listening more soon. But those systems, when it comes to really building out your following and getting people to engage with you, really important.
So for anyone here going, that's all very great, but how the frick do I come up with content daily?
Yeah, that's the hard part, and that's even something I struggle with at times. And I will write 20 posts a week for Aura, for the Lone Recruiter. I do a lot of social media. You're recruiters. The first thing I would pull on as a recruiter are your own experiences because they will be unique. You will have spoken to clients or candidates or had stories pop up that will resonate with other recruiters or candidates. So if you've had a candidate encounter a specific problem in an interview, chances are they're not the only one.
Yeah.
So use that.
100%. So something that's helped some people here as well when they ask me that question, which is some of my habits, when I think they're quite practical. Because again, if you're not naturally creative or if you struggle to write ads, you will struggle to do social media posts. I noticed the people in the office who struggle to write ads really struggle with social media because it's even more of themselves out there. But I can give you a couple of quick tips that I think are really useful that I've started hacking to help me along. Because mine isn't that I have trouble coming up with stuff. I have trouble coming up with stuff quickly.
Yes.
You know, you can I don't have an hour to sit down and just think about what I'm going to post about. I've got 2 minutes. And I'm usually doing it when I'm sitting behind a drum kit with the kids at band or whatever. And, you know, and it's so my first hack, and this might be useful for people out there, is you touched on social listening, but just trawl LinkedIn and comment. Just aim for 5 comments a day in the morning on various things, right? And what you'll find is some of those comments could actually quite easily be a post. And it actually prompts you now
LinkedIn has a feature
that
that allows you to turn any comment into a full-fledged post.
That is probably the easiest way. If all you did from this podcast to take away was that I'm going to do 5 comments a day and I'm going to take one of them and turn it into a standalone post, you're covered.
Yep.
The other one, the other thing I do is I have a notepad, or on my Apple, I've got the notes. I just have a page that's dedicated to posts. Yep. So if I have an idea, I jot them down. You know, that's a good idea. I just put a little note there. So then when it's time to do a post, it's ready to rock and roll.
You can even add to that, have one on your desk every time you're on a client call, candidate call, anything, and an idea pops into your head, quick note.
Yep.
And then you've got a ready-made list to go 100%. Back to.
And then the other easy one is, and you forget this, but you are the eyes and ears between all of the clients that you service. So company A and company B are in the same industry. They don't know what each other are doing. Now, you don't want to give away trade secrets, but if you know that there's a trend happening across all of the sector that people might not be aware of, or people are always curious about what's happening with salaries, people are always curious about turnover, people are always curious about what's happening from company to company, maybe you've got some commentary on that.
Salary is always a great one because I think people want to know what other people are earning, right? It's that whole keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's why the Hayes salary survey does so well every year. And if you can do any posting around that, and I can tell you from a statistical point of view, any post that in the opening line has numbers in it, that post is going to do better than a post that doesn't. And that's just a little hack. And it's because the human eye is naturally drawn towards numbers and symbols.
I like it.
Little hack.
So we've established that 2023 is noisy. There's a hell of a lot more people posting on LinkedIn and socials in general. And what I've taken out of this is that quality will reign supreme and consistency will reign supreme. 2024, do we have any idea of what's coming up and what we think the trends that are going to emerge?
I think there's going to be a couple of things that we'll see more creeping into LinkedIn. They're happening on other social networks, but we'll see them creeping into LinkedIn a bit more. And the first is industry nano influencers. So you're talking about, like, if you look in the recruitment industry, everyone knows Greg Savage, right? He's probably the main influencer there. But you can already see for recruitment, there's other little influencers starting to pop up. Like, you could almost call yourself one. But every single industry, whether it's finance, whether it's construction, because so many more people are starting to put themselves out there.
They understand it.
They're understanding how it works. They're starting to get traction.
So like anything, it's segments. It starts to just get deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay.
I think you're going to start seeing that happen a lot more. And if you're someone trying to build your own social network, there is an opportunity to leverage off the work they've already done. Like something you mentioned, commenting on top posts that you see every single day. Find the nano influencers in your industry and start being the first person to comment on their post every day. Everyone that sees their post is going to see you. Easy way to leverage a market, doing half the work.
That's it. I've even read that commenting is more powerful than posting these days.
Well, that's going to be my next point. So social listening, that's what I said, I'm going to come back to is going to be even more important because you can look at this in terms of brands, whether it's clothing, corporate, no matter what. The brands that do the best on social media are the ones that really get what their audience is trying to tell them, and that's because they're actively responding across their social networks, responding with their services to what their audience is looking for, their problems, their pain points, whatever that is. So going into your particular sector, seeing what their issues are, commenting, making insightful, thoughtful comments that help those people, I think is going to be really important.
Okay. That was good. Thank you. I feel like we got something out of that. Thank you, Beth. That's all we have time for today. Hope you got something out of it. As always, if you did get something out of this, share it, like it, give us a 5-star review. It does help us grow, so thank you very much. Have an amazing day. And as always, may all your deals come true.